Hello everyone and welcome back to round 5 of the British Superbike Championship here on GPBikes. Today we're in Kent in England for one of the most famous, if not the most famous tracks in the United Kingdom, and that of course is this beautiful Brands Hatch circuit. Now I was actually here in 2023 for this exact race, the BSB race in 23. It was a great weekend, great racing, good weather, and not only was the track amazing, it showed off really how popular and why BSB is one of the best national championships and championships in general in the world. But here we are today for this race, round 5 of 8, so we are taking on now a small bit in this championship. And yeah, really enjoy this track. Fast track, difficult track, very narrow in places, a lot of bumps. There's just a lot to this track. It's not easy to master, it's not easy to be consistent. Basically from Hawthorns all the way around to the penultimate corner, you're pretty much going right on the edge of the tyre, spinning a lot down here. You can see the bike really getting upset. So it's going to be probably the first maybe race of the season where tyre wear might play an effect later on. We're here in qualifying. We're currently sitting in P4, just over, or just under a second rather, off of Hoover, who's been the standard rider of this race meeting by far. I think he honestly probably half a second over one lap on people. He's really getting the most out of his Fireblade around here. But up down we come this lap and we end up setting a 1 minute 22.6. So overall a fast lap for me. We end up qualifying P4, about 0.8 off of pole position, but more importantly to me, we're only 0.3 off a second. So really take Hoover out, we had by far our best qualifying of the season. Now coming into this race, we all knew the difficulties of the launch at the start of this race, because you have a bit of a cambered run to turn 1. It's very much up a hill and it's bumpy, it's a bit of everything. So the race start was going to be critical. We're here on board now with Biker, who's qualified 6th. You can see the carnage behind him. Gets a mediocre start, but everyone else gets such a poor start. He gets it looks like he's after getting a bullet start, and he gets a whole shot. So his first good qualifying of the season, and he gets a reasonably decent start compared to everyone else and takes the lead early here into Druids. Now you can see my teammate just slides past me there in turn 2, just taking very careful early on in this one. Came into this one with good speed and felt pretty happy around here, but knew it was very easy to make small mistakes that were very critical. Alpha Claw there made a massive mistake to really span up his rear tyre and just cost him the run into the left-hander. Just squeezes me, but we've raced for long enough. We just make a pass there without any collision, and all the way down out to Hawthorn we just full tap wide open on this V4 and we do get the position. So we're up into P5, so probably not the greatest launches for me. I had a pretty poor start offline, but I didn't spin up like others. But at this point now, just wanted to get into my rhythm, let the tyres come into me, because it is quite easy, especially this corner here right on cue, where you can just kind of roll off the edge of the tyre, because there is a bit of a dip there. The camber changes, the elevation just a little bit through here as well. So it was one of these races where once the fuel load came down, you got a bit of heat into the tyres. It was critical if you could keep yourself out of danger, because pretty much every corner on this track has a bit of a tendency to throw you off if you don't take it with a bit of care. And we're doing pretty decent. I think Malene has just taken the lead. Biker was leading, but a bit of a cork in the bottle. A couple of fast guys behind him. But as you can see now into turn 1, I did talk about you have to treat every single corner with maximum respect. And that crash has been a crash I've had on GB bikes for years. And unfortunately, throughout my practice, I just did not have it on this mod. I maybe just got a little bit lazy. It was maybe a touch wide. Maybe the temperature was slightly different. There was something slightly off at that corner, that lap, and it bit me. And we've had our first crash of the race, and a pretty disappointing one, because we were in a good position there. If we could have kept going, we could have definitely been in the hunt for the podium, and we've dropped now as far as P9, which is the worst place we've been all year. 2 guys there, I think Didi and the Giat went pretty wide, and we have a little look down here on the inside, and I'm up his inside. I'm not really sure what he does, but he just rides into the back of me. I'm not sure what he was trying to do there, because I was pretty much alongside him. And then again we end up touching here and into the next left hand. I just go tight. At this point I'm just eager to get past, because I'm racing guys I've not raced, and there's probably a pretty big speed disparity, so it's actually pretty dangerous when you're racing against guys like this when you're not too familiar of their speed or where they'd be on track. So I was pretty happy to get myself back up now to P7, and pretty much everyone ahead of me is someone around my level of speed. So I was not trying to be negative to the guys behind, but it's just sometimes you catch someone and they can be just a bit slower than you expect in the corner. And the little bit of contact there we had with the Gat could be down to the fact that a bit of a speed difference between us. So anyway, on to this very fast left hander. We come out of here, and that guy, not really sure what he was doing in this race, because every time we pass him he's on the ground crash. That's not the first time or the last time we'll see him. Unfortunately, he was a pretty big issue for a lot of people, including race leaders as well. So we've jumped out to lap 7. We are battling with N-Jerk again, really fast at the start. He's had I think got caught up in someone else's crash. I think he high-sided and took Uber with him. There was a bit of a mess earlier on in the race. And N-Jerk throughout this season, really kind of hot and cold. I felt maybe it's a BMW, I'm not too sure. I really expected him to be the form rider after winning the previous Moto 2 championship. Coming into this one, I really thought he'd be one of the guys to beat, and in Donington he was probably the fastest guy bar none really. And that race weekend didn't go to plan. I think he's had a couple of rough race weekends since, and it probably just as coming around time for him, because middle point to championship now, where a lot of the points are being added up and we're kind of getting towards the end of the championship now, and he's actually pretty much nowhere in this championship. He gets a small wheelie, which at the time I thought was quite strange, because I did ride that BMW before picking the Ducati, and I felt the one thing I had was that it did not wheelie at all, and that's the few times now I've seen him wheelie. Unfortunately, out of hot turns it's very narrow, and I do make a mistake a few times through there, and I do unfortunately leave N-Jerk on the FHO BMW back through. So my hard work getting past this guy again, almost murdering us. You can see N-Jerk has a quick look back, because I think we both kind of looked at each other like, geez, that was close, because we both skimmed by very, very close. And I know at this point we're on lap 8, and I know a lot of the leaders have had moments. We get a great run on the way to the final corner that just maybe pushes N-Jerk in just to defend, allows me to turn underneath him, and we finally got a clean move done. And now we just need to put our head down, doing consistent pace, kind of doing low 23s at the moment. And as soon as we can pass N-Jerk, we have good bit of track up in front. We've a pretty big gap. Realistically, without others crashing, there's probably not much we're going to get in the next 8 or 9 laps really for the rest of this race. But I do say that we come through Hawthorns, I believe, this lap, and the next corner there's a massive crash. A couple of people have gone off. I have a feeling, I didn't look back at the replay, but I have a feeling this was caused by some back markers, because I come in here and it's a war zone. There's bikes, riders everywhere. So come through here, you've just seen a second someone in the gravel there, 2 guys there, and 1 guy just in front who looks like maybe he's just rejoined, who actually is Luke Rock on the other FHO BMWs. At the moment now we're sandwiched between the 2 BMWs, and we've actually got the P4, so we've lost Triton there in that scurry, and Uber now has dropped to P7. I believe maybe Alpha Claw as well was in there, because there's so many bikes it was hard to actually tell who was in where and what was going on really. But all I know is that we're on lap 10. We're probably running the fastest pace at the race at the moment. I'm running not far off my qualifying times. So I did go back and look at my ideals and my race ones, and for the midpoint of the race I think I was probably the fastest guy on track. We did pull away from N-Jerk after he does make a mistake, I think, on the next lap and crash, but we were just putting a small bit of time into him, and then we were catching his teammate. Again, Luke Rock, someone who's been ridiculously quick over the years on this game, and just for some reason it's not seemingly working too much on this BSB pack for him. I think this whole pack is a bit kind of hot and cold for a lot of people. Not everyone really gels with it. I'm not a massive fan myself of it. I have my own issues with it, but I think I've just, as we pull a massive wheelie down the Hawthorns as you do, I've just kind of gotten on with it just enough. We've obviously seen my issues with the front end I've had, and I have some interesting tyre decisions that I make, but at this point in the race now we are going very fast, and you can see we are catching up to Luke Rock, and we actually are bringing N-Jerk with us, which at this point in the race, from memory, I thought I actually dropped him more, but I believe he stays there till he crashes on the next lap. But Luke Rock, again, like I said, very, very fast, and we've battled him a few times this season already, but at this point in the race now, we've caught up to him pretty quickly, so I know I need to make this clean and concise and just get past, because he is the podium position, he is P3, so we've a podium last time out, so we will be again banging for another podium here, again after qualifying 4th and having decent speed. Get a good run down to turn 1, it's an incredibly difficult move there, you need such a speed, kind of overrun, but he goes a touch wide. We get a better run down the hill, out all over the curbs, and he just touches the grass, and that's enough to upset the bike. And a very bad corner for FHO, as you can see. Once again, N-Jerk, he's having a bit of a Kevin Schwann season, really, really fast, has massive crashes, and a lot of probably highlight reels this year for N-Jerk season has probably been huge crashes followed by really fast laps, and that's probably the early years of Kevin Schwann's really summed up in a way. But we have made it now up into P3. Probably not really looking that we're going to catch the 2 guys in front. We're still going to kind of put the hammer down and push on, because I was still very much disappointed in myself about that crash at the start. And we're halfway through lap 14 now, and we have actually caught up to the back of Biker. We're about 0.8 of a second a lap faster than for the whole race. We were, like I said, putting in some really good laps. Once this track starts to flow and you can start to ride it the way you want, It's ridiculous how fast you can go. And you can see just through the corners, really. I'm just rolling through them. Just the momentum I'm carrying through there is just rolling me off the back of them. But at this point now, I am kind of aware that there's a bit of a gap back to Lucas Rock, who I believe crashed not long after I had passed him. So I can just take my time with Biker and see can I pick a place. You see here in a second, we have a quick look behind just to make sure nobody's there, so I can take my time, as this has been his first time really this season showing any sort of speed like this, so I don't want to kill him. And again, just wanting to find a way past him. We have the speed, we just need to pass, make it clean, and we should be able to beat him comfortably. But it's GPB Bikes, a Brands Hatch is never going to be that easy. We have a look into Druids. Just he breaks deep enough and breaks kind of just slightly in the middle of the track and defends it for me. I would think look down here, but I think it's such a hard move, and I'm not that much faster where I can pull it in other places. So through this left-hander, I go a touch wide on entry just to get a bit of a slingshot, and we're on the inside. We just try to level him. In fairness, he does just leave me enough space, because there's a massive ripple about there that if you don't pick the bike up, you can have a little front end slide. So he's gone a bit wide, he's gone for the slingshot. We've picked the bike up, and now it's basically a race and who can get to Hawthorns first. But as we get down here, unfortunately, in my headphones, you mightn't hear through the video, I just hear the audio to my left go flying. And yeah, well, basically we look, and I was wide. I got distracted by looking at him because wondering where he was after going, if he's going to hit me or not. And we unfortunately do drop the bike and throw away P2 with only a lap and a half left. We're not unfortunately going to catch up to Biker, and that was pretty much our race done. So we banged into Power Map C, just brought it home. P3 on the day, pretty decent. Again, I think the guys in the championship that I was battling, bar Melina, are all behind me. So again, as it goes, hedging my bet, you're kind of covering most of your bases really here with a P3. You're getting points over most people. So overall, good and bad race, because again, too many crashes. I end up crashing again as last lap, just kind of a weird front end lock up into turn 2. But again, I had such a gap, it didn't really matter in the end. But P3, 2 podiums in a row now, so again, good form. Pace was really good, but just didn't have the full control over the race like I wanted in the end, which was a bit disappointing considering how I felt going into this one. But you can see Melina wins his first race, believe it or not, of this season in Brands Hatch Bike, getting his first podium after a good qualifying and overall a strong race. I get P3 once again. Triton P4, I think that's the best result of the season for the Aprillian man, and Lucas Rock rounds off the top 5. And in the championship, we have an 8-point lead now over Foxer, who wasn't present today but did get points, as we had some weird connectivity issues that he couldn't get in. So he got points in Brands Hatch, even though he didn't race, which was not my decision. I think it was a bit of a weird one, but look, it's not me hosting it, so it's not really up to me on kind of what way the points are done. But it was a bit of an oversight, I think, from the host, that the track didn't have the grid spots and kind of got all a bit messy. But a few people got points basically for showing up. Melina and Uber are 3rd and 4th. Again, they're not too far off in the championship. Again, a good run from either of them. Could see them still win this one, even though I'm leading and I have a bit of a gap and I am performing pretty well. I wouldn't say that I find myself yet winning this one, as there's still a lot of racing to go. We've 3 races now left: Cadwell, Thruxton, and the final race of the season up in Scotland at Knockhill. So 3 very tricky racetracks to go. But that is all for today. Hope you have enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, and I shall see you in a future GP Bikes video in the not so distant future. Thanks for watching. Slán go fóill buachaillí.